I'm short on words here to either make a point or even defend a point, because how do you even do that, right? And that's not calling into question your argument, because I think it's relatively sound. Like, yeah, make a change. Something's got to move the chairs around in some way, shape, or form here, Lou Lamoriello. But how is he going to do that?
I don't even know if I want Lou to be the one to be making those decisions, that's a whole nother conversation, right? But like, if Lou's not going to be here, do you want him making your calls at the trade deadline this year?
No. Absolutely not. No,
right?
I've said the same thing. I totally agree with you. You don't. If he's not going to be here, then why give him the keys?
Because then, like, is he going to sell off pieces for the future if he knows he's not going to be a part of said future, or is he going to try to salvage his job and try to get this team into the playoffs?
I don't think if he buys, his goal will be to salvage his job. I don't think he cares about this is going to sound rough, but I don't think he cares about. His motivation isn't, I need to keep my job. His motivation is, we need to win, and that will ultimately get him his job. It's, are they going to, like you're saying, is he going to be in a position to buy or sell? And will he realize that when he gets there? And do you want him to do that, considering if you're buying, then you shouldn't, if you're selling, he should no longer be the GM. That needs to be done right away if you're selling.
Yeah.
But that requires the owners to make that decision on their own.
And I don't know if they're there. I could see them making in the off season doing something like that. I just don't think we've seen anything from Malkin or Ledecky to make me believe that they're going to make a change like this in season.
Yeah, that would be and as you're alluding to, that would be the absolute wrong call. If you're thinking you might sell because you don't make the playoffs, you can't get a new GM in and say, here you go. We didn't sell off Brock Nelson. We didn't sell off Kyle Palmieri. Hope you're okay with that.
Now they're going to walk in free agency and
you're out of 2 first probably.
Right. And that's what I mean, because you could, if you're heading in a direction where this isn't going to be a playoff team, which it's unfortunate you're only 15 games into a season, but my feel is that's where this is going. If you sell off Brock Nelson for a first round pick and you sell Kyle Palmieri, maybe you get a first round pick for Palmieri, or at least a second round pick. Let's go on the conservative side and say a second round pick.
Yeah.
Now you have cap space freed up and you're going to a new potential GM. You have 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks. Here you go.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do to get this team back.
Yeah, it gives them a lot more to work with to enact whatever strategy you've hired them to enact. If you don't do that, you kneecap them right out of the gate. Sure, you've got cap space now because you let go of Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri, and the cap is going up as well. But you don't have that extra first. You don't have that extra second round pick, which could go a long way because you still have your own first and your own second, do we not?
Yes.
Right? So you have all of that. It's not a full-on Utah level, or I guess Arizona at the time level rebuild with a bajillion of these draft assets. But when you have 2 firsts and 2 seconds, and all you really need to do is tinker around the margin, because you still have Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, Noah Dobson, you still have Ilya Sorokin. You have all of these core pieces. You just need to add a little bit more. That gives you a lot more to deal with. And we hadn't even talked about moving Jean-Gabriel Pajot either at that point. That's another $5 million you can easily, maybe I shouldn't say easily, but that you could get off the books.
You have him and Lee going into the last year of their deals next year.
Lee, yeah, it's true. That's another one, right? You could create so much friggin' space financially to go into free agency, and free agency's gonna have some lunkers in there. Mikko Rantanen being one of them.
Yeah, God, that would be fantastic, by the way.
Right.
But the point that I wanted to bring up is while we have some people being like, they need to tear this thing down to the studs and sell it like tank and rebuild, essentially, blow it up. I hear blow it up or rebuild. And I don't think you're really doing that when you have your core of Horvat, Barzal, Dobson, Romanov, Sorokin, that group is what you're going to be continuing to build with and build around. Yeah. But you can move off those other pieces. What I listed, like, I think there's anywhere between 4 to 6 guys that maybe you want to keep around here for the foreseeable future.
Is that not a teardown, I guess, at a certain level?
I guess, but in my mind, like, a teardown to me is like Barzal, Horvat.
Yeah.
Like everyone goes. Yeah, and I guess that's just like, maybe I'm being nitpicky with what my definition of it is.
Screw it, it's your definition. You can do what you want. Screw the haters.
Yeah, okay, so screw the haters. That my definition would be then a retool, not a rebuild, because a rebuild to me is like you're getting rid of your core group, and I don't think that's what this team is going to end up doing. Yeah. But again, you can set yourself up to revamp or whatever you want to use here.
Retool on the fly.
Yeah, and get it going again with the next person.
Yeah, because that also these I think we've gone far from where we were before, but I like the road we're going down here. In establishing key definitions for the terms we're going to use at a certain point. Whether we're there yet or not is completely irrelevant. Yeah. Just defining what we mean by certain things. I also think that the definition for a rebuild and a retool, time is part of that as well. Whereas a rebuild, you're dedicating a few years of shittiness. You've blanked off 2 full seasons at least where you're going to be trash on purpose, basically. Whereas with a retool, it's we've committed ourselves to be bad now because we already are, but with the intention getting right back into contention next year. If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.